What's up guys, my name is Ace, and welcome back to another Battlefield Gun Guide. This is the series where I dive deep into the stats of the guns, and toward the end, I share some recommended attachment setups. And in today's episode, we're going to be covering the third assault rifle. This is the SOR-556 Mark II, based on the FN SCAR-L. And starting it off, as always, let's get into our raw power potential. And this gun has a very slow rate of fire. It's the second slowest in the assault rifle category at 568 rounds per minute. And within its first damage range, it's going to be a 4-shot kill to the body, and this means our time to kill potential kinda sucks with this. It is the slowest killing assault rifle in the game by quite a noticeable margin as well. And when it comes to headshots, it's not particularly effective here. Sure, you can get a 3-shot kill to the head in this range if every bullet hits the head, or with hollow point or synthetic tip, you can cut that down to just needing 2 headshots mixed in with a body shot. And we see this exact trend carry over into our other ranges as well. At mid-range, it's going to be a 5-shot kill to the body for a very slow time to kill at 423 milliseconds. And then finally, in our minimum damage range, beyond 75 meters, we're killing in 6 shots, which takes 528 milliseconds to kill. So at all ranges, this is the slowest killing assault rifle, but don't write it off immediately. We have some big upsides to compensate for that, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. But next, let's have a look at our damage ranges, which are just standard for assault rifles. But really what I wanted to point out with this graph is just how much slower your time to kill is relative to all of the other assault rifles at any one of these ranges. Like, this is a clear outlier when it comes to this. It's not slightly worse than average or anything. This is by far the worst. Now, one redeeming quality here is we've got a very solid muzzle velocity. It's actually the second best in the assault rifle category at 800 meters per second. And we have a standard drag coefficient at 0.0025, meaning with that combination, we're going to be seeing the second best results here in the assault rifle category, just a little bit behind the L85. Then when it comes to hipfire, with the default version of this gun, you do get the short barrel built in, which will help with your hipfire spreads. But assuming you are using the basic barrel, you're going to be seeing the exact same hipfire spreads as all of the other assault rifles. And with this gun's really slow rate of fire, generally speaking, I would try to avoid hip firing unless you're like essentially point blank, just because this gun is quite unforgiving for any missed shots. And therefore you want to do everything you can to limit the number of shots that you're missing. And now that we have that out of the way, we can finally get into the area where this gun really stands out above the rest. And this is the recoil. As we can see here, this gun has very little recoil and very little spread as well. There's definitely some aim down sight spread, especially as you continue firing. After the first, 5-6 rounds, you really start to notice the spread kick in. But relative to all of the other assault rifles, if we look at the side-by-side comparison here, you can see the maximum amount of spread that we experience toward the top part of that recoil plot. That's nothing compared to most of the other assault rifles in the game. And therefore, not only does this have very low recoil, it also has very little spread. So it's insanely accurate. It's one of the most accurate guns in the entire game. And this is what we're trading our raw power potential in order to gain. Now, after that, when it comes to our handling stats, it's just standard for an assault rifle. There's really nothing out of the ordinary here. We do have among the better reload times, though, at 2.38 seconds by default, or if you use one of the fast mags, it'll cut it down to 2.11 seconds. Also, when it comes to mobility, just wanted to point out, it's the same as all of the other assault rifles in every one of these areas. So nothing out of the ordinary there. And now let's get into a brief section on REDSEC. If we're fighting against an enemy with 2 armor plates equipped, it's going to be an 8 to 12 shot kill depending on the range, and especially when you factor in the rate of fire, that's going to give you a very, very slow time to kill potential. But again, you are trading that raw power for a lot more accuracy, and therefore at range, you're often going to be outperforming many of the other guns, despite the fact that theoretically speaking, you're killing much slower. You're just going to be hitting your shots far more consistently, and you don't have to tap fire nearly as heavily as you would have to with other guns. And when you tap fire, you are going to be hurting your time to kill quite a bit. And now that we have all of that out of the way, let's get into some excellent attachment combinations I put together for you guys. And this time I've actually got 3 different setups. The first one I wanted to share is my balanced accuracy build. And with this one, I'm actually using a different optic compared to what I normally use. The ROM 1.75 magnification optic. This one is just nice and clean and just gives me that little bit of zoom, which I think this gun deserves, with it being more accurate and more so designed to excel at longer ranges. We also have the standard suppressor here to stay off the radar. We've got the heavy extended barrel, which I would always recommend if you've got it unlocked, because this boosts our muzzle velocity up to 1,000 meters per second, which is going to help at range. And again, that's where we generally want to stay with this gun. And then on top of that, it does reduce our aim down sight spread a little bit. On top of that, we also have the canted stubby, because that helps a little bit with recoil, especially that horizontal recoil. I find it straightens it out nicely. After that, we have the 40-round magazine on this, and that's largely just because I like treating this almost like a mini LMG at a distance. While it does take a long time to burn through a magazine, I just kind of like having the extra rounds there so I don't have to worry about reloading nearly as often, and then we're just using the standard ammo on this. And recoil-wise, we're making incredible recoil even better with this. Like I said, we pretty much take care of any sort of horizontal drift to our recoil, so it kicks basically just straight upwards. There's a little bit less spread overall here as well, and it's basically just a little bit of initial recoil, which is easy to compensate for. And this is just an excellent all-around balanced accuracy build with the SOR-556. I really like using this one. However, I didn't want to miss the opportunity to really lean into this gun's strengths and go for a maximum accuracy build. With this one, for our optic, we're zooming in a little bit more here with the PVQ-31, because this one's designed for like extremely long ranges. We have the compensated brake in our muzzle, and normally I would always recommend using suppressors, but I really wanted to see the potential of this gun, so that's why we're going with the compensated brake. We once again have that heavy extended barrel. We're using the low profile stubby, which gives us the best possible recoil control in our underbarrel category. And then we finally have the 30-round fast mag and the standard ammo. And with this, as you can see, there is practically no recoil with this gun, and it's basically all just spread that you're seeing here. So it is an absolute laser beam, and especially if you do fire in controlled bursts, you won't really see that spread kick in at all, and this thing will just be pinpoint accurate. And while I do think this is overkill, and I would prefer using a balanced accuracy build because that's more than accurate enough, and I can stay off the radar with that one, like I said, I just wanted to show the potential with this gun, and this is it when it comes to accuracy. And then finally, like I said, I wanted to share a third setup, and this is because I didn't want to ignore the headshot potential here as well. So with this one, I'm using the OSA 7 optic. Use whatever you're comfortable with though. We've got the standard suppressor, that heavy extended barrel, combined with the stippled stubby, the standard 30-round magazine, and then finally, hollow points. So with this, we've still got a very accurate gun on our hands. We are reducing our recoil a little bit here, which we don't even really need to do, but it helps when we're specifically trying to hit those headshots, and this gun does that quite well. And if you are hitting those headshots consistently, it helps you get that time to kill potential in a more competitive state with the other guns out there. So just another potential alternative for you guys to use with this. At the end of the day, that balanced accuracy build I shared first, that is my preferred setup with the SOR-556. And with all of that out of the way, when it comes to my final thoughts on this gun, I actually quite like it, despite the fact that it is a big outlier gun. Like, it sucks when it comes to raw power potential, but it's incredibly accurate. And as a result, if you keep yourself at a bit of a distance where accuracy really starts to come into play as far as determining the outcome of the fight, this gun can actually excel despite its slow time to kill potential, because unlike the other guns in the game, you don't have to tap fire nearly as much, and tap firing kills your time to kill potential. And just in general, you're going to be hitting your shots far more consistently, which will often allow this gun to come out on top versus the others, despite its slow time to kill potential. Now, is it my favorite gun in the game to use? No, absolutely not. I just think it's interesting if you really want to lean into an accurate build. Now, of course, these are just my opinions on the SOR-556, and this is where I want to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about this gun? Do you guys like the fact that it is so accurate, but in order to gain that power, you're trading your raw power potential? Or maybe not so much. Would you prefer leaning into a gun that just has more raw power? Now, if you guys have missed any of the previous episodes, I have now created a separate playlist for my gun guide series, and I will leave that link down below. And if you guys haven't subscribed yet, I'd encourage you to do so you don't miss any future episodes of Gun Guides. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll talk to you guys next time.